on the way to his first success. Oh, what a start from the Kawasaki. Shaky Byrne. That was electrifying. He just leapt off the line. There was never going to be any shadow of a doubt who would be first into riches. Behind him, Josh Brooks and number 77. A great start for James Ellison on the Lloyd's British GB Moto Kawasaki. Brooks goes through on the inside, but two, Dave. Oh, and there's a fall.
That Smirts, I think. I'm fairly certain he Smirts off the Ducati.
And was it the Honda? Oh,
possibly Da Costa as well.
Oh, that beautiful Honda that they've worked so hard with has gone down. The equally beautiful Panigale, and we've got another crash further round. Something's happened. And that's Ben Wilson has gone down, number 15 on the Gearlink Kawasaki, and there's another faller there. So not the sort of chaos we expect on the opening lap.
There's somebody else as well. There were two bikes involved in that Wilson crash, because
the other one's Michael Rutter on the Batham's BMW, we think. What a messy start.
That is down at... that'll be down at...
There's a problem for Stuart Easton, which, who was, as we heard Paul Bird saying, the safety car is out. Easton riding back in. He's got a problem with his Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki. I mean, Paul Bird has just been saying, as we get the safety car message out to the riders here, everyone puts their arms out, but we've already lost about 5 riders from the race straight away. That's Michael Rutter. Is Michael all right? This is the most experienced man. We think he had a collision with the Gearlink Kawasaki. Michael Rutter is 423rd British Superbike race. And the 42-year-old from Bridgnorth.
Whatever happened to him down at Agostini's, the left-hander, that definitely involved Ben Wilson as well. So,
this is not what I wanted to see. So the IWR Batham's BMW then has gone down together with the Gearlink Kawasaki. So right now we'll have rather cut the numbers down from 26 to about 21, I suspect, as they go past us into lap 2.
Yep, definitely Jakob Smirts and Julian Da Costa down at the first hairpin over at Montreal.
There is the hairpin. That's Shaky, right. Shaky, who's always aware of what's going on around him. I mean, a good look around to see who's piled up there.
Yeah.
Did you see what happened between Da Costa and Smirts? Who got it wrong first?
I think that Smirts clipped the back end of somebody when he was running wide himself. I think it was pretty much self-inflicted. Let's have a look.
Oh, he did.
That's already started.
Yeah.
And it was Westmoreland got put on the grass. I think he... let's have a look at the bike in 4th. Oh, no.
Oh.
Da Costa.
Da Costa went down, lost the front, and took out Kuba. Kuba's Smirts was right in front of him.
I take it all back. Not Kuba's fault at all. Now then, this will be the second incident because of and that. And I think that's Palmer's, the very next corner.
Yes, it is Palmer's, and that's a quick left-hander that they keel into at around about, well, they go into it at a fair lick of paint at about 70 miles per hour in 3rd gear, so looking a little bit second-hand there, the unfortunate Michael Rutter. 1 lap in then, Shaky Byrne, Josh Brooks, James Ellison. 5th for Linfoot, 6th for Chianari, 7th for Patrick Muff. Hopkins in 9th ahead, teammate Josh Waters. Richard Cooper is just behind them ahead of Ian Hutchinson, getting a really bright start on the FFX Kawasaki there, number 8 ahead of 303 Keith Farmer. And then the newcomer riding only about his... He has been in BSB before, John Ingram, the Ram from Wigan, but he's popping up again as a replacement rider here on the number 56 bike, the Morello Racing Kawasaki. And the Wigan man then ahead of Aaron Zanotti and Peter Hickman. Oh, thankfully, Michael Rutter looking okay. What a relief.
Yeah, he doesn't smile much anyway. So I think that is... thankfully, the blade has got away with that one. But a fast crash, I must admit.
It's called a dry sense of humour, isn't it? He is one of the funniest of men in that dry Midlands fashion.
You just need to be to understand him a little bit. But once you do, he's a funny lad, yeah.
So, superb lineup of riders still out there. Beautiful colours, I have to say. There's John Ingram going through, ahead of Aaron Zanotti. And right at the back there, number 20, Jenny Tinmouth. Also, not a very bright start for Barry Burrell on the WD-40 bike with its distinctive blue and yellow. Just ahead of Howie Mainwaring Smart, who's making his return after injury, of course, on the number 43 machine representing Quattro Plant Kawasaki.
Right, well, the safety car is in this lap, as the caption says.
By the way, where did Chris Walker start from? Because he's
20-something.
Because he started in 20th place. He's 8th. He's 8th right now. I've only just realised. I was looking towards the back of the field. There he is, going through picture now.
He is, yep.
Stalker has come from 20th to 8th place before the pace car came out. Before the safety car came out.
One thing about Chris, he can always make a start. Yeah. Lots of motocross experience, good at getting out the gate. So
he's always called it the Stalker start. The Stalker start.
Yeah.
Well, he certainly got it on the Lloyd's British GB motorbike. Remember that they've never been off the podium yet in the first few races of the season. In fact, James Ellison there running in 3rd place as Paul Bird looks on. Ellison has finished 3rd in every race.
Yep.
So he's super consistent, and of course that means he's lying in 3rd place in the championship. He's also got 4 podium points against the 11 of Josh Brooks and the 18 of Shaky Byrne, and the only other man with podium points is his teammate Chris Walker on 3.
Yeah, we saw James Ellison there weaving from side to side, obviously trying to keep his tyres warm. No matter how quick the car goes, it's not going as quick as these bikes would like to go to keep the heat in the tyres. Now remember, when the safety car comes in, that's just after Murray's, the little left-hander at the end of Corrams, where we're going into now. The riders are back to racing pace, but cannot overtake each other till after the start and finish line. So it's up to Shaky how he goes about this. He has the option of how he starts now, whether he holds back and then goes, but nobody can overtake him. He's not. He'll be away now.
And the dog drive up the hill then, and putting the power down on the Kawasaki. Honda and Kawasaki right behind him. Early move there from Linfoot and Bridewell, almost alongside one another as they drop in. Linfoot trying to get through. Bridewell says no way and retains that 4th place ahead of Yuichi Kianari, Patrick Muff, Chris Walker, Hopkins and Waters. Ooh, a weave there from the back wheel of the Milwaukee Yamaha on that hard braking into Montreal hairpin. There is the leader, Shaky Byrne, and the 2 Milwaukee Yamahas running 2nd and 4th, sandwiching James Ellison. Patrick Muff now behind Chris Walker. Walker up to 7th place.
Yeah, one observation from me would be that Linfoot did actually try and get past. Let's have a look. Look at the 4th and 5th place man. Now then, that I think just. Bridewell was still in 4th. If Linfoot would have gone past before the line, there would have had to be. There would have had to be a penalty for Linfoot. You're not allowed to pass before the line.
But Tommy Bridewell, fortunately, was just in front as they crossed the line, so no penalty will ensue. Oh. Did you see Kianari skimming out of Williams there? Wow, he was absolutely on it in old style. A lad who's won here 7 times, of course. Previously on Hondas, now on the build-based BMW of... whoops, and we got someone running straight on. That was Patrick Muff on the Batham's BMW. And he was running in 8th place, but he's run straight on.
3rd time I've seen him do that at the end of the straight. Obviously needs a better braking marker, because that is the 3rd time. Twice throughout qualifying and practice I've seen him do that.
So as they drop into the final turn with James Ellison in 3rd place, tucked in behind the 2 leaders. Tommy Bridewell looking bright in 4th. So too Dan Linfoot, number 4, running really strongly on the Quattro Plant Kawasaki. And there's Chris Walker behind Yuichi Kianari, but only just behind the build-based BMW. Through Riches, and then gallop up to speed before braking hard from the slowest corner on the track. Around there we go, and then we pick up speed to over 120 miles per hour before you back it off for the 70-mile-an-hour left-hander here at Palmer's.
And Linfoot's having another look at Bridewell at the Montreal hairpin. A little bit of a mistake actually from Bridewell, running a little bit wide mid-corner.
Just behind those 2, Yuichi Kianari's red and white BMW, then the distinctive green Kawasaki, and equally distinctive helmet of Chris Walker. There's his teammate. So once again, the Lloyd's British GB Motor Kawasaki's running strongly up front. Fastest lap so far, 1:49.236 from race leader Shaky Byrne on lap 4. Stuart Easton problem was a water hose came off, detached itself from the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki, so the little Scotsman had to pull straight off before the end of lap 1.
That would explain why a couple of riders towards the back of the field were sticking their hand up at turn 1, because they saw something coming out of a bike, and that will have been water or water vapour coming out of Easton's Kawasaki.
So Byrne, Brooks, Ellison, Bridewell. Is Brooks beginning to creep away and open up that gap? Linfoot, Kianari, Walker, Muff, Hopkins, Waters. So the Taiko Suzuki's running top 10 ahead of Richard Cooper and Ian Hutchinson, running better than he might have expected. I'm just wondering if Hutchie's found something with that Kawasaki, because he's running a lot more confidently in 12th place right now as they cross the line. Charge up, 5th lap out of 16 there. Shaggy Byrne leads it into Riches. Looking back up at Kianari, at Walker. There's the two Taiko Suzuki's under threat now for number 47, little Richard Cooper from Hucknall on the Anvil Hire Tag Racing Kawasaki. And at the moment it's Waters ahead of Hopkins. So the double Australian Superbike champion and Speedway enthusiast, number 12, Josh Waters, leading John Hopkins, number 21, Californian former MotoGP racer. And both of them on the GSXR 1000s. Byrne with a half-second advantage almost over Brooks and Ellison, Bridewell, Linfoot, Kianari. Patrick Muff showing that promise. He may have outbraked himself a couple of times at the end of the straight, but he's still looking pretty quick.
He is, you're down in 8th, yeah.
Or perhaps because he does.
Maybe. He's found a quick line there.
One guy I've got to say who just popped up on screen there I'm a little disappointed with, really, is James Westmoreland. He's not really getting on with this place, down in 14th place.
Westmoreland was put on the grass at Montreal in that incident between De Costa and Smertz.
Westmoreland running 7th in the championship, 6 points behind Chris Walker, as we watch the two Taiko Suzukis of Philip Neal's Taz Suzuki team once again clipping through what I still tend to refer to as the S's, but it's actually Brundle and Nelson, for future reference to you guys out there. And then it's on round the old school at Corrams. Breaking hard into the final turn. I thought Shaky was opening up a gap, but you know how tenacious Brooks is, and he's clinging on there on the Yamaha.
Just about.
Onto the 7th lap of 16 then. 10 laps to go here, with Byrne leading by 0.531 of a second. A lap time of 148.48. So he's creeping down towards his lap record set on his Stobart Honda back in 2011 for the Paul Bird team. James, have you gone round this? Have you ridden this track?
Yeah. I've done lots of instructing around here on track days.
It looks a lovely place to ride.
It's brilliant, yeah. It's quite involved. There's one corner leading directly into another a couple of 3 times, so you've a lot to think about. You know, your line out of one corner directly affects where you can brake and how hard you can brake for the next. So it is quite complex, but really good fun. Really good surface, lots of grip, very predictable. Tons of runoff generally, and yeah, there's not a lot not to like about this place.
There's quite a battle beginning to develop between Dan Linfoot and Yuichi Kianari for 5th place. Kianari clambering all over the back of the Kawasaki, with Linfoot just having lost contact a bit with Tommy Bridewell there in 4th place. Here they go. Now, has Keogh's BMW got the legs of the Kawasaki down the straight? He pulls out part way down, tries to outbrake him into the S's, but Dan's having none of it. Linfoot, the North Yorkshire boy, lays the Kawasaki down across the face of the BMW.
I don't think Dan actually knew that Keogh was there. Keogh cut across to the inside just to try and get a run in, but he never really got close enough for Dan to see him, I don't think.
Kianari, of course, would be, at the moment, he's lying in 13th place in the championship, but that was after a double DNF, a cruel double DNF at Oulton Park, when he was running really strongly in both races.
He was, yeah. He was looking like something like the old Keogh.
Tommy Bridewell, 148.276, fastest lap of the race, as we watch this battle still raging between Dan Linfoot, the North Yorkshire lad, and Yuichi Kianari on the Bill-based BMW. Look at this, Tommy Bridewell is right in the mix here. Could he get his first podium? Tommy Bridewell beginning to threaten the green and purple Kawasaki just ahead of him. So this is a 4-man squad running at the front.
Yeah, and there's no way that Byrne's getting away. Brooks is round his tail. He's pulled time back on Shane Byrne. It got up to about half a second. It's not anything like that now.
Here's Kianari. Now he tries to ease his way past the Kawasaki. That one will do nicely. Keogh moves through into 5th place. The Quattro Kawasaki just gets eased back into 6th. And he'll have Chris Walker for company fairly shortly, I suspect. Walker did a 1:49.29 on his last lap.
Still a good run for Dan Linfoot in this company, I think.
Yes, very. And Linfoot now 6th. Walker, Muff, Waters, Hopkins, Cooper and Westmoreland now up to 12th place. Hutchinson poked back to 13th ahead of Farmer and Burrell, who's now into the points on the WD-40 bike.
And if Josh Brooks or anybody else for that matter can catch Shane Byrne, don't look at them to follow, look at them to try and get past and show them the front wheel, show him their front wheel into some of these slower corners around here, because I just feel that even now, even though they're sticking with him, I don't think there's much in it. I think that, you know, if they give him an opportunity, he might just be able to pull away. They've got to harry him.
Shaky Byrne then, it comes dancing out of that final turn. He knows he's got the speed up the hill, so too has James Ellison. Ellison gets alongside the Milwaukee Yamaha on the rise up to Richards, tries to outbrake him almost round the outside. Has he made it? Brooks tries to cut back inside. Ellison through to 2nd.
They've got to watch out, you know, because if they start beating each other up, you know what's going to happen. Shane Byrne's going to be away, and this will happen. This is exactly what I mean. You know, these guys need to be a little bit clever about this. You know, and maybe James Ellison thinks that he's got a good chance of going quicker than Brooks was when he was in front of him. But they've got to be careful. Look, they've just given Shane Byrne that half a second, and he ain't going to be easy to catch if they keep doing that.
So the Cumbrian from Kendal rips his way past, and then this happens as he just runs slightly wide at the hairpin. He gets lifted up by a determined Brooks. He responds, reclaims that 2nd place.
Yeah, and it cost them both about 0.2 of a second in that move. And look, this is exactly what you don't want to happen. Having said that, I remember once at Assen, I had Aaron Slight come past and tap his seat and wave his fist at me saying, you know, stick behind me, and I didn't take any notice of him, so...
So you're a right one to talk.
I know, but I still stand by what I said. They need to work together a little bit here, I think. If they want to, you know, if they want to beat Shane Byrne and win the race, maybe they just want to, you know, beat each other.
Well, certainly podium credits now, of course. We've had that change in the system of the podium points so that you actually get 5, which I think is a really good move. Get 5 points for the race win. The man who's been accumulating race wins most regularly is, of course, Shaky Byrne. So he's already got 18 points with that 3 points he got for 2nd place to Josh Brooks in the 2nd race at Alton Park.
Well,
but that means he can rack up a fair advantage at this rate. 1:48.34. is his fastest lap of a look at that. It cost him half a second in the end.
Because Ellison had done a similar lap time to what Byrne's just done the lap before, in the lap that he actually passed Brooks. So yeah, I just think they're going to work together. Maybe this is the combination that's going to pull them back to Shane Byrne. Ellison looks like he might be able to do this.
We're on the 10th lap of 16. This is the fastest lap classification that would decide the grid for race 2 right now as it stands. Bridewell, Byrne, Ellison on the front row. Brooks, Chianari, Westmoreland, both the build-based BMWs together on row 2. Linfoot, Patrick Muff, Josh Waters would be on the 3rd row. Chris Walker, John Hopkins and Barry Burrell would be on the 4th. Sometimes surprises you who's setting fast laps, even relatively downfield. There's Barry Burrell, number 7. The Bishop Auckland lad from County Durham is trying to force his way through the pack. He's right on the back wheel of multi-TT winner Ian Hutchinson.
Yeah, that's the battle for 13th. This is still...
Hutchie was wide there.
He was, and Hutchie's not confident, especially with the front end of that Yamaha R1. But this is not a bad run for him. This is just what Hutchie needs.
To get into the points and stay in the points. He's running 13th. They're running 13th and 14th ahead of the former Superstock champion Keith Farmer. These are the 3 riders running 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Just out of picture the race leader Shaky Byrne. I suppose Shaky will be hoping that he doesn't suffer from a detached water hose. Of course, anything can happen. I mean, these are complex pieces of machinery, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, it's fairly basic stuff. Is a detached water hose. There's several of them on the bike. Obviously, these things are water cooled, going from the radiator and various parts of the cylinder head and cylinder of the machine. Most of what goes on with these things now is electric, because everything's got sensors on, and they're more complex electronically than they are mechanically these days. Bikes have needed water hoses for years and years.
John Hopkins beginning to wake up, James. He's now past his teammate Josh Waters, and he's in pursuit of the Swiss rider Patrick Muff there in black on the Batham's BMW. They're just behind Chris Walker. So Hopper beginning to actually find a glimmer of form. Bike number 21, 12 kilos, allegedly 12 kilos lighter than he was before he left us 6 weeks ago to go and spend some time back in his native California.
Well, I can tell you that he won't be enjoying riding round in 9th, I'm sure.
James Ellison pushing hard. Ellison in 2nd place. Beautiful contrast between the bright green Kawasaki. The colour Kawasaki should always be just ahead of the red, white and black Yamaha. They should.
He had a bit of a traditionalist,
Team green should always be team green. There's number 67, Shaky. Of course, what he is in is a very beautiful traditional British racing green. Back in the early years of Formula One car racing, there were colours designated for different countries, and the British colour was British racing green, and that is the colour that is so beautifully on dark, rich green that's on the side of that Paul Bird Racing Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki. So Shaky Bird leads it. They're beginning to just try and close that gap again. We're on the 11th of 16. We've got 5 laps to go now. It could just be. Let's check out the times as they cross the line. Incidentally, Shaky set the fastest lap of the race on his previous lap with a 48.11. This time he's gone back to a 48.3, but he is still a whisker quicker than Ellison and Brooks.
Yeah, I just feel that if they were going to go and have any chance of beating Shane Byrne, they need to be getting in front of him and passing him and giving him a bit of an hard time, like they're giving each other. Now, that's Ellison and Brooks.
And once again, the Yamaha clinging to the curb as they went through Montreal hairpin, but not quite having sufficient oomph to get past the Kawasaki, dragging out of the turn. We're on the 12th lap of 16. And this is the first of the MCE Insurance British Superbike races of the day here at the 3rd round of the Snetterton 300. In a fortnight's time, we'll be up at the contrastingly tiny Knockhill Racing Circuit up in Scotland, in the Kingdom of Fife.
As far as I'm aware, all the front riders are on the SC1 rear tyre, which means that's a slightly harder of the options, and strangely that's the tyre used when the track temperature is lower. When the track temperature rises, you go for the SC0 softer option. There we go.
This is a move by Josh Brooks. He whistles his way through at the end of the straight into the left-hander at Brundle's, the sharper right-hander at Nelson's, and then drops down through the bomb hole, and then this fabulous long right-hander at Coram's curve.
Yeah, the
Bridewell's just slipped off, James. He's just not quite been able to maintain the consistency of their pace after setting that earlier fastest lap.
Yeah, he's consistently just a 10th of a second. Oh, yeah, that is that Bill? It's a BMW.
It's not. It might be Westmoreland.
It is.
Oh, it's James Westmoreland who's gone down.
Yeah,
Westmoreland was running in 11th place. He got past Richard Cooper, so the quiet lad from just outside Hull trudges away. Westmoreland out of it. Oh, and that's
Peter Hickman.
Peter Hickman came into the pits. That's not Chris Walker, is it? Well, I thought for a moment Walker was in the pits there. So Byrne, Brooks, Ellison, Bridewell, Chianari, Linfoot. They're the top 6. Walker in 7th. Hopkins 8th now, ahead of Patrick Muff. So Hopkins is continuing to make progress as Josh Brooks back now into 2nd place. Would like to be able to fend off that bright green Kawasaki of James Ellison's. Josh Brooks a whisker quicker than Shaky Byrne on the last lap.
Yeah, with 3 laps to go at the end of this one, you just get the impression that Shaky's doing enough. You know, he's looking settled. If we're looking at his lap board.
Paul Bird, the team owner, made an interesting point, James, on air before this race, that they haven't been away road racing or anything. They've just been focusing quietly on preparing a new engine for Shaky back at their workshops up in Penrith.
Yeah.
And they're probably perhaps reaping the benefits of it now.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, Shaky's looked solid. Like you say, he doesn't have anything else to think about than BSB. Brooks has been away doing the Alaman TT. That's bound to have an effect, although it doesn't seem to affect him too much. That's Linfoot. Kawasaki mounted Dyson with Chris Walker, also Kawasaki.
This is an intriguing little competition, of course, because Linfoot now riding for the team that Stalker was riding for last year, Quattro Plant Kawasaki, run by Pete Extons. And Walker right up behind the North Yorkshireman as they drop through that final turn. John Hopkins still running, I think he's back behind Patrick Muff as they came through the final turn. Now over the hilltop, Walker moves inside, but can't quite make it past... we know from his 250 GP experience, from his European Superstock 600 experience, Dan Linfoot fast through the turns, James.
He is. He's a big mid-corner speed man, X125 rider. On Supersport, it was frighteningly quick mid-corner, in fact a little bit too quick, because once you're mid-corner and you're going that quick, the bike's got to be lent over more to do those kind of mid-corner speeds. You can't on the throttle. So the more power you've got, the more you've got to square the corners off. So yeah, but he's a mid-corner man, he's Dan.
And here comes Chris Walker. Chris Walker's a hard on the brakes man, but Linfoot is just holding him off and holding his line. And if he just holds that fastest racing line, he can just keep the Nottingham veteran just astern.
The Nottingham veteran, I like that.
As they go round. All right, the boyish Nottingham veteran. On the 14th lap of 16 then, this is the battle raging for 6th place between Dan Linfoot and Chris Walker on their Ninja Kawasaki's. Look at them biting, fighting for grip as they come out of Williams to get up the pace over about 180 miles an hour in 6th gear as they plummet down the Bentley Straight. Walker once again not able to get sufficient pace up even with the help of that slipstream.
Yeah, there's not that many places in UK racing now a slipstream is really important on these big bikes. The more power you've got, the less important slipstream it is, but it still is important down the back straight here at Snetterton.
What a great contrast in styles as Chris Walker tries to tuck underneath, going round Corums, and he pulls it off. What a mental move that was, and drops into the final turn, loses the front as he drops through it. But with that vast motocross experience, he can tug it back in. Linfoot tries to come round him, now gets inside him. Which Kawasaki's the quicker this time? Dan, we know, is pretty fast into riches, but so too is Christopher.
When Chris Walker went over the side of the younger rider there, you could just tell he was thinking, yeah. take that.
So Christopher John Walker then moves through into 6th place. Dan Linfoot right behind him. Patrick Muff, still, this is how the move was made, James.
He just left him a little bit of room, did Dan? Yeah, and this is, watch Chris, watch him in, loses the front, then the back. He started front, went first, then the back was the worst aspect of that. But, wow. Yeah.
That entrance to Corums is, look at this, Brooks, typically full of fighting spirit and gusto, is trying to close that gap down on the race leader on the penultimate lap.
Yep, and his last lap was his fastest of the race, as some 3/10 quicker at a 48.2 than Shane Byrne's last lap.
So 48.2, just a whisker, 1/10 of a second outside Shakey's fastest lap of this race. That should put him on pole position, of course, for the second outing of the afternoon. But I don't think Brooks is finished yet. He's going to keep pressing on as hard as he can.
You know, he's like that, is Josh. He never, ever stops trying. And sometimes you settle for a position, then the leader or the rider in front has a mistake, and you think, oh, if I'd have pushed on, I'd have been right in place to take advantage of that.
You know that Josh won't be able to ever reprimand himself on that score.
No, it's true.
On the charge up the hill then now, into the final lap of 16. Shaky Byrne crosses the line now, then Josh Brooks. The gap as they cross the line, 148.168, just 0.05 of a second shy of Shaky Byrne's fastest lap of this race. For Josh Brooks there as he crosses the line, he's 0.47 of a second behind. He's always quick on the brakes there, but loses it on the exit to Montreal.
Yeah, because Shane Byrne goes in there, early apex, drifts it a little bit wide mid-corner, cuts it back to a real straight exit and gets on the power a little bit harder than Josh is able to do, holding that tight line.
So Ellison's got to find another way to edge a bit closer as they charge at 150 miles an hour down towards Agos. Round Agostini's then, the long, hanging left-hander. Look at Shaky standing up the Kawasaki and just pushing the power down through that fat back tyre. And then sweeping left through Hamilton's, dropping down now to Oggies, and unless something...
he's got it so
big
quick,
mistake there by Josh
Massive
Brooks.
mistake.
Comes back out on track. He now glances behind him, kicks up the dust. He'll have James Ellison to fend off as he goes through Williams. Now he's got to find the pace down the straight, because he's got to have someone in his slipstream any second.
The problem is the tyres are dirty. He went onto the muck in quite a big way. He tried to get the tyres clean, but that will have cost him time all the way out of Williams and on the straight.
So now he's got to just make sure that he defends his second place. It was a big effort by Josh Brooks, the Australian, finally slipping off the track on the final lap. He rejoins, giving a face full of dust and roost to James Ellison, and he hangs on, just hangs on to this second place at the moment as we watch Shaky Byrne drop down through. Here comes Ellison, thinking he can get through. No, not quite. It's going to be a victory then for number 67, Shaky Byrne. Rapid Solicitors, Kawasaki. Behind, we've got Josh Brooks takes second place. Third place for James Ellison. Fourth will be Tommy Bridewell. And behind them, there are some battles going on as we come up the hill. Look at this, Linfoot just behind Chris Walker. Patrick Muff's in there, so too John Hopkins. Up the hill, Linfoot pulls out, but Walker hangs on to that sixth place ahead of Linfoot, Muff and Hopkins as fast as that. Great ride by the Swiss rider Patrick Muff on the Batham's BMW. Josh Waters comes home in, I was going to say 12th, number 12 in 10th place, ahead of Barry Burrell, who snatches Richard Cooper's 11th place on the final lap for WD.
Josh Brooks for having a go with I've got to say, little chance of success.
Montreal hairpin after that unfortunate first lap incident. Shaky Byrne, the winner.